Hi, I'm Barry Larkin. Join me for a special segment of first-round draft picks here at Club Diamond Nation. Welcome here to Club Diamond Nation. I'm Barry Larkin. I'm sitting here on the panel today with a special treat. First rounders from the Northeast. How about that? To my right, Anthony Renato, first round draft pick. The Boston Red Sox, Mike Trout of the Angels, and Jack Cust of the Arizona Diamondbacks. So we're going to talk a little bit about how that came to fruition and how it was being in that position, coming from the Northeast and getting drafted in the first round. So I'm going to start with you, Anthony. Tell us about your experience. You got drafted by Boston, first round pick. How was that? Explain that to the fans.
Unbelievable experience. You know, coming out of the Northeast, you grow up playing baseball your whole life and you dream about getting drafted and the opportunity to play professional baseball, and then to go to school for 3 years and stay healthy enough to get drafted in the first round and be fortunate enough to be drafted in the first round with a lot of great players was a great experience for me.
So Anthony went to LSU. He was able to go to college and do that thing, get his education, and that's the route he took. I went to Michigan. I did the same thing. Mike, you signed right out of high school. Talk about that experience.
Like he said, you know, unbelievable. You know, I was fortunate enough, they called me and was able to go up to the draft. And, you know, that was, you know, just hear my name called, Bug Sealy, you know, it's just walking up, putting a jersey on, you know, it just gives me the chills right now. And, you know, going in, East Coast, you know, I went to area codes, you know, Jupiter, down Jupiter, played games, East Coast, West Coast, everywhere. And, you know, I wasn't like the Southern kids, you know, they played year round. And, you know, I played basketball, and, you know, in the winter we couldn't really do much because it was cold. And it's just one of the things. And, you know, draft day, you know, I wasn't really expected to go real high. I didn't have, my expectations was, you know, to go to school. I committed to East Carolina, ECU. You know, I had a really good relationship with Billy Godwin and the head coach down there. And, you know, draft day, I went up there. You know, I'm getting chills right now thinking about it. So, heard my name get called. You know, family, friends are all there. You know, I couldn't even get home without my phone dying. I had so many text message calls, and you know, there's a small like get together. It's called the Millville Thunderbolt Club. You know, we were all inviting everybody, a bunch of family, friends. We had a big TV going, just like called Mike Trout's draft day. And you know, when I got done from, I forget where it was, but you know, I was a couple hours away. Came home, and you know, I got a little standing ovation walking in. You know, I'm meeting all my family and friends. You know, congratulating me. So it's an experience of a lifetime, and it's a dream come true.
Absolutely special thing, especially being from the Northeast. I think anytime anyone has success out of high school, a younger player out of the Northeast is like, wow, that's something different, because in the Northeast we don't get a chance to play all the time. Obviously, Jack, drafted by Arizona, the Diamondbacks in the first round as well. Talk about that experience and tell us a little bit about your journey.
And it was just something that was, obviously the day in itself was unbelievable. It was something that you work, you know, feels like your whole life, probably since I was 5 years old. First time ever going to Yankee Stadium, watching a game there, watching the guys work out before the game, batting practice, just fell in love with it. And it was just a dream of mine to play Major League Baseball at a young age. And it was something that my dad always encouraged me to do and gave me the opportunity whenever he could to bring me to a park and hit balls. And, you know, it's something that, you know, you work your whole life for. And it was really, that day was very special. It was, you know, you never forget the day you were drafted. And, you know, it was a goal of mine since, you know, buddy of yours, Junior, Ken Griffey Jr., I remember reading a lot of stuff on him. He was my favorite player growing up, and I read that he was a first-round pick. And when I read that he was a first-round pick, I was like, I want to be a first-round pick like Ken Griffey Jr., you know, and then playing the big leagues when I'm 19. You know, Mike was able to do that. You know, it took me a little longer, a couple years longer. I was 22 when I made my debut. And, you know, it was just an exciting time. And, you know, all the work that you put into it, you know, especially coming from the Northeast and not having a place to, you know, a place to call, you know, a warm field all the time, down, like Mike said, down south, you know, it's a little warmer. You can play year round. and some guys play year-round, play some other sports, but you know, it was a struggle to really get good at your craft when you're only playing 20 games a year in the spring in Little League and whatever, Babe Ruth ball. But you know, the day I got drafted, it was the culmination of a lot of hard work and a lot of effort, not just myself, but previous coaches and friends and my family and friends' family that helped you along the way. And it's just, you know, it's a great day and a special feeling.
And 10 seasons in the big leagues and still going, that's good. It's a testament to your hard work. So all of us mentioned it a little bit, talking about coming from the Northeast. I was drafted, I was in Cincinnati, Midwest.
Yeah.
It gets cold there as well. What are some of the, well, first of all, let's talk about, we're sitting here in Diamond Nation right now. Your dad built this complex. Tell us a little bit about the complex and kind of why he did what he did.
Well, it started in, you know, it started in 1997 when I got drafted. It was a place where I needed a place to hit. We didn't have a place to hit. We hit everywhere growing up. We put a cage up anywhere, and it'd be freezing, no heat, you know, and we just hit on whatever. I remember hitting in rocks and you know, taking BP on the rocks, and there'd be a heater, and my dad would have the heater on him, feeding. He had a bad shoulder, so he couldn't ever throw. So he would always have a jugs machine that he'd always bring. We had a big van he'd drive around, everybody, MPV van, Mazda, and he'd bring it around. Everybody knew the MPV, and everybody knew there was always a jugs machine in the back with a couple bucket of balls. And we used to, I remember we had a cage one right down the road from here, literally probably not even a mile. And there was rocks all over. We put a mat down, and you're hitting, your feet are moving under the rocks and stuff. And yeah, so I was like, he's like, don't hit the ball on the ground. You can get those rocks hit right back in your face. So it was just, all right, I'm going to hit fly balls and try and hit homers all winter, I guess. And, you know, just stuff like that. Nobody really had a place to go. So we built, after all that, you know, you know, I got a little money to sign. I was a first-round pick and, you know, invested that money with my dad into putting a baseball school together. And it started right, you know, right here. And it was originally 3 cages, small little warehouse. We still have the original warehouse. We've expanded it. It's not in this building, but down the road. And, you know, I gave lessons there from 5 to 9 every night, 5 to 7, 5 to 10 kids, and 7 to 9, 5 to 10 kids. And it just grew and grew. And now we've got, you know, people enjoyed the lessons. Kids from the first group, actually, one of the kids just got signed. He's you know, in the organization with Anthony. Matt Marquis, he's a power hitting outfielder. He was in my first class, and I've had I think like five kids in the first class play Division I baseball, which, you know, made me proud. That, you know, when you get that good education from an early age, you know, you can hone your skills. Baseball is such a skill sport that, you know, you can have, like you know, you didn't put your full time into baseball, like you said, until college, and then you really saw your learning curve take off. Well, you know, I was able to do that year round here where other kids couldn't do it. So I had a big advantage because my dad would always get me a cage and I'd hit all year round. So going into Little League, my swing was mid-season form. And, you know, that first game, there was no slump. You know, you take 5 games to get used to it, and then the next 5 you're doing okay, and then the next 5 you're excelling. But I would go into it, boom, ready to go, middle of the season, and I would do that every year, and you kind of gain a season by being able to do that, as well as I would play other sports. I would just do it in my spare time. So this place gave us the opportunity to do what I did, but at a much larger scale, where you know, it obviously wasn't all this right now. We've got 7 fields now. We've got an indoor dome facility. We've got tons of batting cages. We're sitting in 3 or 4 of them here and 3 or 4 over there. And in the dome, we got 4 or 5 more cages all around these fields. And we just wanted to give the opportunity to these kids to have what I had, just because my father had the time and had the understanding of what it took, because he had played with a couple big leaguers before, the effort you needed to put into it to, you know, realize your dream. So this is what we did. We built this facility, and it's just the amount of people that kept coming and the demand for more is why we kept expanding. And you know, my dad's got a vision of making baseball in the Northeast, you know, equal to that of down south, and the West. And, you know, guys like Mike and Anthony coming through, it really genuinely makes him proud, as if they're, you know, part of the New Jersey family. And so that's what we're just trying to help baseball in New Jersey and the Northeast.
So Diamond Nation is the premier facility in the Northeast, and if you haven't been there, if you haven't been here, you need to certainly check it out. Jack talked about you guys' affiliation coming up through Diamond Nation. Can you talk a little bit about that and share with us?
Yeah, you know, when I first got here, it was just that one field and a couple cages. And I told Jack earlier, you know, I got here and I was like, whoa. You know, I mean, it just blew up. This wasn't here, nothing wasn't here. And, you know, it's like he said, you know, growing up, we can only play till, I don't know, maybe early September. It's so cold, you know, and we had a couple bad winters, so we couldn't even get outside, and, you know, just hitting in the cage, no heat, you know. I remember when I would take my dad in the garage and put a sheet on the edge of the garage post, hit into a sheet, you know. just kids come here and just even if you don't come here and hit, you know, just come here and look at the complex, you know. You're just amazed by it. And, you know, the dome now and hit year round, you know. I'm gonna come up here probably mid-January, hit with Jack, and, you know, just go right through spring training with that, and just opportunity the kids have to come up here and get ready, prepare for the season, and just do it year round, opposed to just doing it in the summer.
And Anthony, is it any different for you being a pitcher as opposed to a guy that hits all the time?
Absolutely. I was just going to talk about that. You know, I mean, we got a bunch of two hitters here, and I've been coming here since I was 15. I was even here when probably before you did, and it was only the 3 cages, and they had the digital pitcher where they kind of had the
batter.
Yeah, exactly, where the ball comes out. And those back in my hitting days, I still hit a little bit. But as far as a pitcher, I mean, it's so hard to find somebody to throw with back where I live, you know, in New Jersey, about an hour south of here.
Throw 98, no one can catch you down here.
And then, I mean, you're going into gymnasiums and you're just trying to block off half of the thing just so you can throw against the wall to have the ball come back to you, and just so you can find some relatively warm spot to throw, you know, because it's miserable down there. And just this area was just unbelievable. You come up here, you're working with guys who are going to Division I schools, getting drafted out of high school in the first round. So just the atmosphere that you're being around, all the talented players, is really, really unbelievable. And then, not to mention just the state of the art facilities now that we have here is tremendous, and just gives these kids such an advantage that I wish I had coming up. And it's really unbelievable to see how it's taken off.